in the top left as the yellow Zerg.
Indeed, so it is going to be a ZVZ. If you are just joining us, then you are in for a treat. And actually, you are just on time as well, as this is going to be the first cast of the day. Yeah, well played, man.
I'm really impressed by those people who just showed up.
The guys who've been sitting in the chat room for like 8 hours are like, I hate you guys. That's not cool at all, man. But, Sean, any predictions on what to expect in ZVZ on this map? Because in the games that I've been casting lately, ZVZ, I feel like it can just go so many different ways. In that the Zerg, I've seen late-game Ultralists, I've seen Broodlords being used now. A lot of it comes down to the fact that the Queens are so good now. But any predictions? If you could just kind of blast it out there on what you think might happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, in line with the idea of the predictions, it's all been shifted by those range 5 queens. Very often you'd see some hyper-aggressive play with Ling Baneling at the start, and that restricted a lot of openings. However, now that the queens can pick those Banelings off a little bit more easily, defensive play tends to be a little bit more favored. That's how we end up seeing players do faster tech to layers, getting Mutalisks. We see them do things like going for Zergling and Fester, but I think most notably what we're going to be seeing from the opening of these two players is a reasonably early third base. With these long distances, it's difficult to do that much damage with roaches. Only speed Zerglings can really hope to be very effective on a map shaped like Ohana. As a result, getting speed Zerglings out, taking a fast third is a very comfortable spot to place yourself in.
Yeah, and there is a lot of maps out there where you can attack the natural, the main base, and the third seemingly all at the same time with a multitude of roaches. But as you mentioned, I think that it could very well be some early expansion. We do see that out of a GoldenLighT right now. He is going to be going for hatchery first, and we do have the spawning pool on the way here for Mr. Rico. But, Sean, does he have to do damage here with this first spawning pool, considering that his opponent is going for such an early expand? Or is this going to just allow him to safely secure his own expansion?
You know, I'm always a little bit torn on these sorts of opening differences. You know, obviously, if you are in GoldenLighT's position, you can get a defense up in time, but you're still not really sacrificing that much in GoldenLighT's position. I mean, honestly, I think that GoldenLighT is generally going to come out way, way ahead in this sort of situation, assuming he controls it properly. Generally, if you're going for pool first, you want to be putting on some kind of pressure early. The only real advantage that Rico's going to be gaining is that queen you see popping out right now. He will be able to get that extra round up, but generally, players will be favoring getting that second queen up a lot more.
The expansion for Rico is going to be completing up here in just a second, and so far we have seen just basically quite a bit of droning here, which is something that you wouldn't have necessarily seen before the most recent patch that was released. You would see Zerglings, sometimes even you see super early Baneling nests, like they only make a couple of drones, and then it's like, oh my god, he actually has 4 Banelings and all my drones are dead. I have not seen that in ZVZ in a long time, and I'm kind of having flashbacks to the most recent MLG, where I was sitting there casting, watching the other casters cast ZVZs, where they were completely maxed out on Ultralisks. Not sure if we're going to be seeing something that ridiculous quite yet, but the Queen's going to be popping out here for Rico, transferring over one down to the expansion right there, and seemingly they're just going to be both macroing up here. And Sean, we see him, we just saw Rico powering 6 to 8 drones at a time. Is it just looking like they're both gearing up for a macro game here?
Yeah, I mean, I think both players, yep, there it is, the defensive Baneling nest. This is increasingly becoming the common defensive structure in this matchup. You get a Baneling nest up just to make 3, 4, 5 Banelings, putting some on the top of your ramp, some at the front of your natural expansion ramp, and then using the queens to pick off his Banelings. You get the Spine Crawler up just for a little bit of extra security, but it looks like Rico is either very comfortable with his situation or is more than willing to take a big risk. I would say that GoldenLighT, on average, plays a little bit better than Rico, but this is the kind of play that you'd want to make in Rico's position, skipping that Spine Crawler if you do think that your opponent is not going to be attacking.
Especially if your opponent's making a Spine Crawler as well. That's just a nice little benefit you can get. You can see the timing of the third base here may very well be early for Rico. As you were mentioning before, Sean, down it does indeed go, and it looks like there may be a drone up at the north as well, going to be taking a third base for GoldenLighT. These builds are so similar, just the way they got to him was a little bit differently. We saw the Baneling nest finishing at the exact same time. We also saw the expansions going down at the same time. The defensive Banelings, looks like with a couple of Lings on the way now, Rico will be able to set those up if he indeed wants to, but a slight variation here with the Roach Warren for GoldenLighT and the Evo Chamber for Rico.
Now let's go ahead and take a look a little bit at their vision and think about how they're able to get away with this much. If you just look at GoldenLighT's vision, he sees pretty much everything around the map, sees what's possibly coming at him. He sees the third base. We see that there are some little baneling exchanges going on here. It does look like a GoldenLighT will not really be able to do too much damage with those banelings, but either way, just some simple trades while both get their thirds up.
And just need to be careful here with the big baneling hits. This can turn the game into either player's favor. And the banelings right now are going to be engaging here. It does look like a relatively even exchange so far. Need to be careful there with those things, though. Some pretty good micro is going to allow him to hold this expansion for now. But, you know, he just needs to make sure that he does not lose that hatchery, because losing that would be extremely huge.
Oh god, GoldenLighT doing an extremely nice timing push, picking off the two Zerglings that were morphing into those Banelings, and now it looks like Mr. JonnyREcco will be losing this Southern expansion unless he can do some sort of miracle soon, but the Zerglings just doing a little bit too much damage while those Banelings prevent any more reinforcement links, and a very unusual timing push from GoldenLighT takes down the expansion, and I really think that GoldenLighT is just getting leaps and bounds ahead. His lair has the lead, his Roach Warren is already done, his third is finished, so now JonnyREcco is going to have to pull some kind of miracle to be able to swing back into this game.
Some kind of miracle indeed. He was hovering about 1,000 resources trying to focus on saving that expansion, so unfortunately for him, not only was he hovering those resources, but of course was not able to save the expansion either. Taking a look at the units, you can see 45 drones for both players, so the economy is not really going to be favoring GoldenLighT here, but having the extra ability to inject larva on that third base and just having the extra larva from having that third base is going to help him out a great deal. He is surging now ahead in supply. He says now is the time to go ahead and try and end this, at least put on a lot of pressure to that newly formed third base, trying to get that reestablished. We do see the rocks going to go down here. I don't think these rocks are going to fall in time to help out the expansion, but right now it looks like GoldenLighT just wants to play the deny game, and he may be successful here.
Oh, Golden doing such a clever play. Continue to try to cluster with Lings. A nice surround there by JonnyREcco. Got to be careful because the Banelings are up on the high ground. They get canceled, and now it looks like Mr. JonnyREcco going to try to take down those units. Looks like it will not work, but I mean, look in that production tab, Husky. We do see Baneling speed and Roach speed under production for GoldenLighT. A very clever play. He knows he forces opponent to overbuild Zerglings. Some speed Banelings in this situation are going to just cause a nightmare.
Now, Sean, what do you think about this earlier infestation pit? It just finished up here for Rico. He's not going to have the pathogen glands anytime soon. He's just started it there, but is trying to play from behind using infestors. Is that a good idea here?
You know, I think it's really his only hope to say, well, you killed off my expansion. That means I'm going to be way behind on minerals. I'm going to try to rely on taking all the geysers in my main and my first natural expansion and use that gas to try to catch up. As you can see, the gas lead definitely is in JonnyREcco's favor up in the top. Now he is making those extra. Oh my god. Oh, this would be huge if he can take them out. He's waiting.
He does!
That's exactly what he needed. JonnyREcco takes out so many Banelings with that one blast, and if those infestors do finish up, he'll be able to defend this attack.
Although you have to remember his roaches do not have speed, that's why he ended up losing a couple of them right there. And now the deny game is going to continue here at the third base, but that's a lot of Lings. He can almost get surrounded, but the Banelings going to be rolling in here as well.
Amazing micro right there by JonnyREcco, being able to successfully avoid those Banelings. GoldenLighT now at the food disadvantage. JonnyREcco with just impeccable control, and there is the fungal growth that he needs. He needs to keep ejecting those onto his opponent's roaches to be able to stay alive. We see GoldenLighT rallying forward, but there are 15 roaches about to pop out for JonnyREcco.
He needs to get those roaches out here stat. He is going to end up losing that queen right now, and indeed he does. The drones are going to surely fall here, forced to transfer away. Although, is there enough units here for Rico? He needs to make sure to throw down a good fungal. I just don't think he has the infestors out quite yet. There is going to be another infestor here surely to follow.
Wow.
But Sean, while he was able to hold, he cannot chase down these roaches because, simply put, they are much faster than his own roaches. That third base has been up for GoldenLighT for quite some time, but the resources lost overall is about as close as you can get without being tied. I have got to hand it to JonnyREcco, able to hang on when he needed to.
Yeah, JonnyREcco doing a very impressive job stabilizing in this game, but it looks like GoldenLight knows that he has to do some kind of damage. He still hasn't seen Roach Speed out of his opponent, so what this means is that GoldenLight can be as aggressive as he wants, knowing that he can safely retreat. That's the only way GoldenLight was able to close that food gap. Now all of a sudden, JonnyREcco is looking to be in a much better situation. He has more workers. He has those geysers 5 and 6 at his expansion. He has the 4th macro hatch up in his main base right now, and his infestor tech is already long since done. So we're starting to see the favor slightly tipping back into JonnyREcco's favor.
Definitely getting stabilized. One thing he is going to have to watch out for, though, is the 1-1 upgrades are about halfway done. We also have Burrow Tech on the way. Down goes JonnyREcco's 4th base right now, so he is ahead in the macro game, but if he does not have detection, he can be taken by complete surprise with those burrowed roaches. The Zergling counterattack here could be huge. There is one Spinecrawler here that is indeed going to push that back. The Overlord Vision, of course, as well, is going to help him detect this, but those Zerglings more just preliminary scouting to see if there's anything that he has missed. But I'm kind of curious on the units tab. The Roach counts 24 to 41, and right now, Sean, he's only got 5 infestors, which his opponent is going to have 5 here as well, as there are, well, 5 in production. So I feel like while he has stabilized, he needs to make sure to spend that 1,100 resources that he has right now.
There's a little bit of an awkward moment right now for JonnyREcco. If you look in the production tab, you see that melee upgrade going. You see the Hive in production and a lot of Zerglings en route. It looks like he is intending on doing a transition to the Ultralisks, as you mentioned. Ultralisks are a great way to exploit your gas lead. If you gain more infestors, your opponent will likely have to respond by trying to catch up in the infestor count, at which point you get the Ultralisks up. And of course, Ultralisks are pretty much unaffected by the fungal growths, can continue to tear down the opponent. So right now, JonnyREcco in a comfortable position. There's the 2-2 upgrades. No doubt going to be a transition to those late game Ultralisks, and it's all going to come down to GoldenLight's ability to do damage before that Hive tech is done.
Relatively even upgrades here for these players. We do have a Hydralisk Den on the way now for GoldenLight. That's going to be a huge boost to his army's DPS if he's able to pull it off. Right now, though, you can see JonnyREcco going to be sitting back in a defensive position. There's a Zergling run by inside the main base. It looks like he's got to try and cut off the drones there, but at the same time, huge fungals on the ramp right now. 1 and 2. Can he retreat? It does look like a defensive fungal here by GoldenLight, but continuing to fungal right there. And the Zerglings, I believe, are still inside the main base, but continuing looking. No, they are actually cleaned up here. But it does look like he can hold for now. Can he get a good concave? The Spinecrawlers are not quite done yet. Huge fungal is going to be going down here for both players right now. You just got to keep an eye on the supplies. So far, GoldenLight pulling ahead, but he is getting surrounded.
Oh, it looks like those infested Terrans finally start to wrap up. All the infestors are so vulnerable right now. JonnyREcco gets a huge swell of Zerglings at the last possible moment, and it looks like all the yellow roaches of GoldenLight are getting surrounded and taken down. JonnyREcco, one of the youngest players to enter into the TeamLiquid StarLeague, really showing full form in this match. Able to take it out. The Ultralisk Cavern on the way. 4 more infestors in production. I mean, JonnyREcco is seizing control of this game, even though the food count still seems to favor GoldenLight.
Yeah, I mean, with the Ultras on the way, I mean, right now he lost a lot of his infestors, so he's not going to be able to make as many Ultras as he would like. He does have a lot of resources hovering. Both these players sitting at about 1,000 minerals and about 1,000 gas there for Rico. So as soon as that Ultralisk Cavern's done, expect to see the chitinous plating and the Ultralisk on the way. And we do see a minor skirmish right here, quickly swelling into a huge attack. Fungal's going down for both players right here. And I don't know if Rico should have done that, especially, Sean, since he's waiting on that Ultralisk tech. A huge fungal once again to deny the push. But I feel like Rico has to just wait at least for a couple Ultras here.
JonnyREcco is in a good position, and GoldenLight knew, though, that he had to continue to be aggressive. GoldenLight able to remax much faster than Rico, who's doing all these huge tech shifts. Now it looks like this 4th expansion does fall down, and it looks like JonnyREcco needs to pull back around to try to concave his units and wait for these Ultralisks. They're only about halfway done. I mean, this would be a miracle if JonnyREcco could live at this point. The aggression from GoldenLight just doing wonders. A few more seconds before 5 Ultralisks spawn, and 2 more will be en route shortly, but the 3rd base is under some heavy fire.
The problem for JonnyREcco, though, is his positioning's not good. His infestors are stuck in the middle line, completely surrounded. Ultras spawning, going to get immediately completely owned there right when they're spawning, and unfortunately, Sean, I don't think he has enough here to hold on. GoldenLight showing us that roaches are pretty good, especially when they've got full-on upgrades. The Ultra is not even able to do that much damage, even though they're doing the splash. It's just not enough to be cost-effective in the supplies. Hugely in favor of GoldenLight here. He's made a big swell of Hydras, now 13 on the way. It is 194 supply to 108. I love the Ultralisk tech out of Rico, but unfortunately moving out a little bit too early. Did not wait for the chitinous plating, did not wait for the Ultralisk themselves, and now it looks like GoldenLight is going to indeed take that game. Good game.